Looking to build passive income? Imagine owning a property that generates income while you passively sleep. Naivera specializes in empowering investors like you to achieve just that through investment in affordable rental apartments. Join the ranks of smart investors who are building wealth through income-generating assets, that is affordable rental apartments. The good news is that you can manage your investment hassle free on your mobile phone. We are currently selling Membley Heights. The apartment has ample parking, high-speed lift, 24/7 security, and spacious units with high-quality finishes. With just 1.89 million, you can secure this investment, which offers a return on investment upwards of 10% annually. Usiachwe nyuma. Take action now and start your journey towards wealth creation. Talk to us today on 0798 999 000 or 0115 169451.
Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Good morning, this is Elevate Television Morning Digest Wednesday edition, and this is your host Moses Muiruri. And they say that just having satisfied customers is not good enough. You need more than that. And today we are looking at our customer. Remember, you also are our customer on Elevate as you watch the Elevate Television. Today we are talking about our customers, and we are going to look at it because remember, this is a customer care week. And we don't just want to just send you a message. We want to really delve into this matter and bring out all that we can so that we can hear the sound. So you are part of it. Remember to text, remember to engage, and remember that we are on Facebook, YouTube, and X, and also in Instagram. And if you have not liked the pages, please do so, because that's the only way we can be able to get back to you. But before we do that, remember the drill. The link is already out. Share it on your WhatsApp groups. Share it on all your platforms. We are live on all those platforms, and you can be able to engage and help someone. Maybe you're just starting up your company. You need to hear something about customer care. Today I have professionals in the house, and this is going to be a great conversation. So, but before we do that, please share the link. I've shared mine to my groups. There you go. Remember, you can even stream it on your, on your page. You're free. It's a link. Go ahead and do that, and that's what we want to have it done. Today I have great people in the house. I have Duncan, Juma, and I have Paul Kitemu. These men, I tell you, from the Experiential Academy Africa. Juma.
Yes.
Hii ndio Elevate sasa.
Asante sana.
Please look at the camera, introduce yourself, and then we shall kick off.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Duncan Juma. I'm a faculty member at the CX Academy Africa, and I'm happy to be here.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Customer Service Week. My name is Paul Kitemu, a capacity building expert, a faculty member, Customer Experience Academy Africa.
Let me begin just right there, Paul.
Yeah.
Just having satisfied customers isn't good enough.
Yes.
You need more than that.
Satisfied customers can easily move to another place where they're satisfied. What delights your customers today will not necessarily delight them tomorrow. Today's exceptional experience is tomorrow's bare minimum.
Wow.
So you have to keep improving. And in customer experience, it's not a destination, it's a journey.
My goodness. Wow. Juma.
Yes.
We are living in the days of hustlers. We are starting hustles every day. And today we now see the place of customer care as a core aspect of business.
Right.
I just want you to speak into it as we begin out.
Yeah. It is interesting that you say even customer care. In fact, right now, customer care doesn't cut it anymore, because care is really the actual service that you do for them. But we are moving to a space we are in the age of the customer. Remember earlier on, there was an age where we had manufacturing as the buzz. Then we moved into, now you've manufactured goods. How are they reaching your customers? So we went into the age of distribution, where now bringing goods closer to the customers matter. Then we came into the age where we're calling it the information age. But now we are in the age of the customer, where the experiences you give your customers really mean something to them. Before that customer reaches your shop, your premise, they have had so many options before they arrive at you. So what is it that will compel them to skip shop A, B, and C and come to your shop? And heavily it is the experience that you will give to them. And that experience has to be great to a point where those customers can actually go out there and mobilize others and say, you know what? Go to Mr. Muiruri's shop. That is where it matters. So you must convert your customers into advocates by giving them a great experience. Markets are changing. The customers' options are changing. A customer will have a good experience in a hotel, and they want to have a similar experience in a clothes shop. Because of that, then customer experience becomes the key. And we are happy to celebrate it this week, Customer Service Week.
You know, you said about the customer, we have come to the age of the customer. I was reading a document about a certain product, I think I don't mention it, and how it was, how they came about it. So they were giving their, the genesis, how the product came about. And they say they were selling the product. It has been there for years. But then they realized this thing is not moving. So they got this idea, why don't we go to the customers, the would-be customer, ask them what they want, how they want it packaged, what would they want inside there, what is the quantity they want. And they went out and they say they spent a whole 6 months just listening, documenting, and then they brought out the product. It's in our market today. And when it was brought to them, they say, now this is ours.
Exactly. Right.
So that's what you mean by is a customer, now this is the age of a customer.
In fact, you cannot create products and throw them at customers. We are in the age where you must co-create this. And actually, that's even when you think about where we work with Paul in CX Academy Africa, we ask ourselves, do the business people really understand, or do even members of staff understand that the customer is, the leader here, that he is the most important person and we must be listening to them to create even products for them? Let me ask you, how many banks have a current account? All the banks.
Yeah.
What will differentiate you from the other? And part of what we do at CX Academy Africa is also to sensitize employees to say, you know what, you're doing it for the customer. I mean, sometimes we need then the employers, the HRs to start thinking, how do we empower our people to be sensitive to that customer? That customer complaining, for example, at your shop could be the one saving you from the business. So you start looking at that complaint as currency that helps you go to that next level. Because how many hotels you don't go to them and they don't know that you left because you didn't like their service? Very many. So that customer who complains, we start adding value to what is the customer saying. And so we are in the age where even creating products, and Paul is an expert in this, in telling organizations, you know what, maybe you guys are listening to your customers but you're not understanding them. We need to come and add value and say, what is your customers really saying about your product, and how can you be better? Because the markets change, the customers' preferences change, how they want to be made, treated, change. And customers in our age, you just need one customer complaining, puts on Twitter, and the boardroom has a meeting, an emergency meeting. And because of that, it is actually true that we are in the age of the customer.
Paul,
one
time somebody sat there and they said, most of you are listening, but you're not hearing. What does it mean to hear for an organization, because of, to hear a customer?
When talk about listening and hearing, actually there are 3 levels. There's a hearing. When you're walking on the streets, you just hear some cars hooting, but you're not paying attention. But since you have ears, you got to hear. There's listening, and that's the minimum that I can listen. But there's a third level where it is active listening. This is where you put yourself in the other person's conversation. You own the process. And many times you find service providers, a customer will come, as Duncan has said, that there is a complaint. And yes, we have complaints. We received your complaint. But we don't sit back to ask ourselves, what exactly does this customer mean when they say we are waiting for too long? Because we are waiting for too long could mean different things to different people, to different organizations. But we need to put ourselves in the customer's space. Reason like our customers. And this is where empathetic listening comes in. You listen to understand, not just to record what the customer is saying.
Last week I made a decision.
Yeah.
I'm closing an account in a certain bank. And you know that's not a small decision. Closing an account, that means you have records.
Yeah.
You have a history. But I made a decision. This account is closing. In fact, this week, I'm going to do the last check out of that account. And I realize it's because of what you have just said. In fact, you've just mentioned it.
Yeah.
I mean, the banking hall is so big. And I tell you, I think even if you give somebody who doesn't know banking, you can run that bank. Because the people, we have 2 tellers, people are queuing. These tellers, one leaves, goes back, comes again, comes in. I ask myself, are these people realizing we are trying to save time here?
Yes.
Convenience.
You
see,
know,
and I went actually, because normally I've made a decision. If I have a problem, I'll go and talk to whoever is in charge. So I went and talked. I saw a customer care manager. I walked into that office and I asked her, honestly. In fact, that day what had happened, the systems had gone down. They had not communicated to anyone, so people are just queuing. You go to they say, they're just doing this. So I asked, what's the problem? They say, no, the systems are down. Say, you keep people here all this time, and instead of just communicating, systems are down. And, problems would occur. These are systems.
yeah.
Then all of a sudden, it is customers now. You know the way they get agitated in the banking hall. Then all of a sudden now, one starts talking loudly, another one, said, okay, this is not helping us. So I went to the managers with, Nasta, honestly, this is a very small thing. You'd have come, told us there's a problem. We are human beings, we are grown-ups, would have gone home or gone to the office, come back later. Now you're telling me inside this office 1 hour later.
And this is where, Moses, we say customer service is tactical, it is reactive.
Wow.
When you're in that banking hall, you looked around and people are busy running up and down. The system is down. And I always say sometimes when the systems go down, people tend to go down with the systems. But we are saying that we need to go to the customer experience space where systems will go down, as you have accurately alluded to, because these are systems. But when systems are down, send a broadcast, get to the banking hall, tell the customers, we are experiencing a system downtime and we would kindly ask for your patience, or you could go and use an alternative channels. That's why we have technology. Technology has come to help us ease the burden of manual transactions. So we need to embrace technology. Send that broadcast. There are companies that when they know they are doing an upgrade, next week, they'll send you a message today. So by next week, Wednesday, between this time and this time, I don't expect these services. That is the experience we are talking about.
Wow. Phew. Juma.
Yes.
The advent of technology and the customer. The customer doesn't need to be there, but he still wants the experience.
Of course, we cannot run away from human experiences. In fact, as we grow, we need a world that is a lot more empathetic, and people want to have interactions with the people. But you cannot just throw technology at people. You can't predict for the people. It is for you to see. There's something in CX Academy Africa, one of our products as we serve our customers, we look at what is your customer journey looking like? So for example, your advert on TV could tell us that you have a great service. So that invites me to the door. But when I'm coming, now that we used a bank, who am I meeting first? There could be a vendor selling sweets outside your banking hall. There could be a security guard who is not directly maybe a member of your, the organization staff. The experience I'm having with all those as touch points, how does your door look like? Am I, forcing myself into the little, how, all those are touch points. So if I'm able to use technology to ease the pain of a customer, then technology becomes an enabler. The truth of the matter is that technology cannot replace human attitude, for example. There are organizations that have great technology, great CRMs, customer relationship management systems, but they have very horrible attitudes on the staff. Actually, people would rather go somewhere where there is no technology, but there's a great attitude than go to places where there's great technology, but it doesn't serve. Technology is an enabler. It is not the product, or it's not the end game in itself. Needless to mention, the reality of it is human beings have two kinds of needs. They have emotional needs and they have functional needs. When you are going to that bank, your functional need is to get that withdrawal or to make that deposit. That's a functional need. But how you get treated is your emotional needs. And now, customer experience caters, or human beings, 75% of their needs is emotional. And so, how they made you feel by sticking you to a queue for long, that feeling that helps you process accounted more for 75% of your needs. Wow. So when you move away, it's because there's a feeling, I feel betrayed, I'm inconvenienced, I don't feel like these guys are helpful, there's information they're not sharing with us. Actually, you can make do with, we have systems that are not working, give us some time, you feel bad momentarily, but you're happy you have been told, you can go and do something else, as opposed to someone you're just in the dark, you do not know. Airlines have perfected this, Paul. They will know there will be a delay for 15 minutes. They'll come back and say, we might actually have a delay for 1 hour. Then 15 minutes later, they come back to you and say, hey, you know what? Our engineers have worked overtime and we are now. So you actually end up feeling like they have saved you 45 minutes. And that is part of managing the experience and the expectations of your customers. But to answer you, I was just answering that technology is in itself not the end game. The justification for technology should be, in our customer journey, there are pain points that we feel these customers are asking for quick response, and maybe doing that transaction on an app would help. So technology then enables the customer's convenience to serve a need, and not in itself saying everyone is taking. In fact, a lot of right now it's the buzzword. Everyone's going, oh, we need robots to answer, we need bots to deal with automation and all that. While that is good, unless it is answering to a pain, resolving a pain that the customers have, you'll just be busy, and in the long run, you'll be wondering why your customers are not in your business.
So Paul, I'm normal.
You're
I am
fine.
a normal guy, because I actually, now he has answered me in a very interesting way. I really feel I need a human touch normally. And even though I'm tech savvy, I know I can do this and that, but I normally feel how I'm treated. And actually I have made up, I know where I buy my things nowadays, because there's a place I went, they treated me this way. So I went somewhere place, I was treated well. I just created, that's my place where I go. Actually for me, I know where I buy my groceries, I know where I buy my clothes, I know where, in fact, even fueling. There are several fuel stations in my area. One of them, actually, one time, and I was fueling with a card. And this lady has this attitude. So I said, what is wrong with these people? I just moved to the next one. The guy there, he greeted me. He just cleaned my window. To date, I go to that place.
And that's the place now of customer loyalty. They don't think that they have lost a customer. Let's go to the bank scenario. The bank is, they pride in the numbers. We have this number of customers. But no sooner had you moved your balance, they'll still say, we have an account holder called Moses Muiruri. But remember, they are not earning from your account. They pride in the number, but they are treating you as a transaction, as a number, and they've forgotten to go to the element of we are human beings dealing with human beings. When you go to this petrol station, somebody thinks all you're looking for is the fuel. But remember, 75%, as Juma has said, it's emotional.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll get the fuel. It will fuel my car and the car will move. But I expect to relate with the living human beings. And when someone comes with an attitude, they lose the customer, they lose the revenue, the business does not grow. And the differentiator here is the experience your customers are getting.
Sure. So they are evolving customer, what we can call expectations.
Right. They keep changing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Actually, if you get good service today, it becomes your expectation at that point. So when someone is to go above and beyond, they need to supersede what you experience today. Your great service today is the bare minimum, as Paul said. Customers expect that they will be wowed. You'll go above and beyond, And that's really the very essence that most organizations, employers are worried for two things. One, the experience their customers are having, and whether their staff are delivering that experience, a good experience. So you find, and most times there's a disconnect where we have a good product. We are a bank, we are, a wholesale shop, but we do not go down to see how are our customers experiencing us as they come for their functional need. They're coming to buy bread, but you say, "Hi, Moses, how are you? Good to see you." Oh, you have a little boy. How is the little young man? Oh, you brilliant. You will be a pilot. What you're doing is you are connecting to the child and the parent. Then when this guy is going back and says, "Moses, have a lovely day," as you go away, you feel like your name has remained there, and because of that, then you want to come back. You actually, when you want to go to somewhere else, you feel like you're playing your other customers.
You're betraying,
you're betraying the other guy.
And we're going to go for a break.
You're right.
I think you can imagine how fast that conversation has gone. And we'll be back, and I will ask you something, Paul, because I think I have never thought like that. Well, keep it elevate. Send me your let's talk, let's engage, and we shall be able. These men are here to engage with you, to answer, and to have a good time with us. See you after the break.
Every man of God must remain focused in the ministry.
A pastor needs prayer, care, love, and encouragement.
You have to have a mentor, someone you can be able to obey, to love, to submit to.
What these pastors and leaders should do to create the right culture.
The most powerful thing a pastor can do to his people is teach them. Being accountable to an authority is not weakness, it's strength.
On Encourage a Pastor, we share real and authentic conversations that intend to give solutions to a pastor.
If there's a minister out there are character issues, don't push. Don't keep on ministering. You won't be fruitful.
In the body of Christ, certain wives have given up because probably they feel they haven't gotten the right leadership from their own husbands.
We need to learn to know our husbands after the Spirit.
I'm telling you, don't quit.
Catch Encourage a Pastor every Saturday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
we are back and we are talking about the customer. Remember, this is a customer care, the customer, it's your week. Let me use that word. And Mutunga Anthony, he's here, he's saying, if we valued customer relationship, any organization would care about time management, relationship and excellence, delivery of service, whether through digital or manual ways. My friend Paul, how do you measure the experience, what would you call a real experience?
You see, I like the comments by Mutunga there. He's talking about time management. What Mutunga is bringing out is one of the measures of efficiency, and that is turnaround time. How long it takes for something to be done to a client. For example, when you go to a restaurant and you order for your meal, there's a question that you always ask. How long will it take? So that you know the turnaround time for you to get your meal. Mutunga is alluding to the fact that sometimes we could be great in customer experience, but we don't factor in the waiting time.
You know, as you said that, I once walked into, let's use a bank again,
Yes.
because this one was a real banker who had just resigned,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So we walked into a bank with this person,
Yeah.
and she told me something I had never grasped. You know, it's normally, in your mind, you're prepared to sit and wait in a bank, normally.
Yeah.
She told me, did you know it is not right for any teller to keep a customer for more than 6 minutes? She told me that. I said, what do you mean? She said, yeah. In my training, 6 minutes is too long. If they have a challenge, you move it to the next person. So you pick the next. So that, you see, that is what makes people come to the bank. You know, this statement, "I bank hatukaangi." So I never thought about time management that way.
Moses, you say the right thing. And maybe before I joined working with the CX Academy Africa, I used to work in a telecommunication company, one of the biggest in the region. And one of the measures of answering calls was what you call average handling time. And the essence was not for you to rush the customer. The issue was that you need to, you're built to have certain skills where you ask the customer the right way very fast, get to diagnose what the issue is and be able to answer them. You know, so, and there's in between there something we call holding time. When you put a customer on hold, you're not allowed to put a customer on hold for more than 60 seconds.
Wow.
On hold, 60 seconds sounds like an hour. If a customer waits for 2 minutes, they will tell you I've been waiting for 30 minutes. If a customer waits for 5 minutes, they'll say I've been here for hours.
2 hours.
There's a training we did, and we asked the participants to close their eyes, and we played some music, some classical music for 1 minute. It sounded like they've been there for 1 hour.
My goodness.
And that's how painful it is for customers. There is even a restaurant, right? Part of their measure for turnaround time is that the moment the customer enters their door, they shouldn't last more than 10 seconds before someone has greeted them. Even if it's just to usher them to a seat because maybe you are not ready to serve them. And those are some of the measures of that customers want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to feel listened to, they want to belong. Their emotions need to be taken care of. And I know maybe your meal will delay, but I come and say, Moses, good morning. Your meal will take 15 minutes, but as you wait, what else can I serve you? What I've just told you is your meal will delay, but I'm also saying there's something that you can be doing, which has a benefit to us, but how I talk to you then qualifies. And you say the right thing. If I'm going to the bank, I'm not going to spend the rest of my day. I'm a business person. Why should I spend an hour in a banking hall? I'm a business person. I shouldn't waste time trying to do, and I think Paul will allude to it, there's something we call the customer effort. Part of the measure for efficiency is how much effort are customers making to get to your goods. You know,
Wow.
You know, it reminds me of those early days when banks were few. Remember, we started by saying we're in the customer's age. During distribution age, remember people taking leave or asking for an off from the office to to go to the bank.
Yes.
It was an occasion to go to the bank. I remember seeing people coming in the bank. I've been a banker before, and they have to dress in a way that they are coming to the bank. It was a ceremony to go to the bank, and they dedicated the day for banking. But today, if you tell somebody that I'm asking for 4 hours to go to the bank, in fact, they will tell you, must you go to the bank? You should be having banking on your phone. And that's why simplifying customers' effort in terms of accessing the service, it's a very key parameter to measure how easy are you to access or to deliver services to the customers. Customers don't want to spend a lot of their brain, a lot of their time to access services. Simplicity, accessibility, convenience are some of the parameters that customers are looking for. And this is where, again, you ask customers, how are you perceiving or viewing our services? They'll tell you your services are good. But when you want really to get their voice, you want to ask them, are there areas we need to improve on? They'll tell you as is. When we give the customers airtime to talk to us, to hear their voice.
But do you really think people listen? Okay, let me not answer that. There's a question I want to ask both of you, and anyone can answer. You know, I'm just thinking as you're talking, the impact of a customer on a brand, you know, what you call, I don't even know a name I can give it, the customer experience to a brand. You know, this is what let's look at let's say we have brand Paul.
Yes.
The impact of customer experience for that brand to grow. Do businesses understand that?
Let me go first, then maybe Juma will add his comment. Remember we said that there is no business without the customer. Actually, it's the customers who own the businesses. They are the reason the business exists. Today's customer, being the customer's age, is so powerful that he dictates how businesses should be run. And you've seen many businesses, they thrive today, and it takes just 1 or 2 comments on social media about that brand. And tell you what, a brand can be crushed in a day because of the experience people are giving. Those early days, we used to say that out of 100, 9 customers will complain and 93 will not, they will walk away. But today, if I have an issue and I go to my social media, I go to my X account and say, horrible experience by Bank A, how many people will see that? They're in thousands. And so these thousands, when they see that comment, you've seen that people tend to support the customer more than the brand. And they say, even me, I left, I closed my account, and that actually affects. So the experience a brand is giving out can determine its success or its failure.
You know, one time I tried that. I was having a problem with a utility in my house. I got so frustrated, so frustrated. I went on X, and I just said, I went to their page and I told them I have been asking for this service for the last, I have paid, I haven't received it. This is 3 months down the line. Actually, it was 6 months down the line. All you give me is excuses, and all. Let me tell you the amount of comments that followed mine. They called me for the first time.
Reactive approach.
They called me for the first time. This is not just a brand. It's literally a parastatal.
Yeah.
Juma.
Maybe my comments again to just add to what Paul is saying is that I'll give an analogy. How much is a soda in a Kibandaski from Kempinski? They say Kibandaski is the, Mama Mboga just across the road. You know, you might find that maybe the soda is retailing at almost recommended retail price.
Yeah, 30 bob.
30 bob and all that. When you want to give your family a treat, do you tell them line up next to the Kibanda, I want to treat you?
No.
You don't. You go to a name that, a restaurant that's reputable. But why? How much is that soda in that space? It might be 200 shillings, 400, even can be 10 times no. Why? Because to these other hotel or restaurant, the experience is part of the product. And when you go there, your expectations at the kibanda are different from this because, and you notice that then you're willing to pay a little more for a better experience. Most times we say, even in customer experience, and we insist, even when we talk to our clients at CX Academy, one of the things we keep saying is, if your customers are complaining about your price, one of the things you need to check is what experience they are having. They could actually be telling you that you're having a horrible experience. When you go to a kibandaski and you ask for a meal, you're likely to ask, how much is this? When you go to, for lack of a better example, Serena Hotel, you just order for them food. Because then the products are not the same. And here's the thing, that people are willing to pay way better or higher for a better experience. They're willing. So it's not really about product. And when you understand that an experience will deliver that, who is your customer? Do you want them to hit you once and they go? Or do you like them to come back? Would you like them to recommend others to come back? If that is you who wants to be in a sustainable business, there's a sense in which you must then think about the experience that your customers are having. And you must be then deliberate. And that's why Paul is here, to even tell us that sometimes you need experts like him to help you build a strategy that speaks to your customers. Sometimes you could be going to Mombasa and your customer is going to Nakuru. And there's need for you to align. And I think Paul is able to help us do that. Because experiences matter so much. You mentioned about the Twitter account. Right now, businesses, there's one of the biggest telecommunication company. If you go online, their response is almost real time. When you try to call them, the line is jumped. But you know why? Because then on social, the noise is broader. You are inviting guys who are just asleep and you say, I've had a bad service. Negativity has a way of attracting each other.
Negativity girls,
something even unrelated. And because of that, you want to give them a great service for them to say, I had a great service when I was talking to Moses. You know.
Paul.
Yeah.
Building what you call a long-term or a lifetime customer.
Yes.
Should be the goal.
It is the goal.
And how does one do that?
You know, Juma said that you don't want to do a one-off transaction with a customer. Remember, by the time you are winning a customer to your side, there's a lot of investment that you've put in terms of advertisement, recruiting, and looking for this client. So at this point, when a customer comes and they do maybe the first transaction, you've still not recovered your investment. So the revenues or the profit from these customers does not come from the first transaction. It ought to be a journey that today you are transacting. I've earned 100 shillings from you. You come tomorrow, I earn another 100 shillings. By 2 years, I've earned so much from Moses, and if I didn't keep Moses transacting with me, I would have gone at a loss. Let's go to banking, for example. Bank people will come and open an account with you, like the account that you're closing. Maybe it's not an old account. They have invested heavily. They have produced maybe the checkbooks for you, the cards for you. But the profit they have gotten from you in this short term is not enough to cover their cost. So if you leave that bank, who has gone at a loss? It's the bank, because you'll walk out and in 1 hour you can open 20 accounts in this city. But the bank has lost. So when we talk about generating revenue from long-term clients, is to look at how much am I generating from this one number this time. If this person stays transacting with us for 10 years, this is the amount I'll have generated from this one customer. Many organizations, they don't look long-term. And that's why you go to that bank, they don't care whether you are frustrated or not. Some of them will even tell you, it's okay, you can close the account. They are not looking at the investment they have input. They are looking at short term. In business, we don't encourage hit and run, for lack of a better word.
Yes.
In business, we say you hit and remain at the scene of crime, protect what you've done, and wait to harvest the fruits. You don't harvest a fruit on a transaction. Look long term. During our break, you gave an example of a place where you went and you were received so well, and you said, so far, you've taken how many people there?
5.
You've taken 5 people. Has the company paid you for recruiting for them?
No.
So you become a brand ambassador for this one organization. assume these other 5 are taking other 5 people to that organization.
Amazing.
That business will be growing. While another business that has the biggest billboard in the city, they advertise how great they are. You walk in and you find horrible service. They'll be spending advertising, but there's a lot of churn of the clients because they are not looking long term.
I think you guys are very rich information. Eh? You know, as you talked, I remembered someone, so that people don't say we are here to attack banks. I remembered a photographer, an old man, very old in this city. He's been running from the 70s. And him, if you walk in, this is what he told me. If you walk in, you are mine. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
Then I checked his wall. I saw generational photos. He told me, you see that man?
Yeah.
He started coming here for passport photos. Today, I take photos of his great-grandchildren. And you know, he's so personal. He's so personal, that Mose. He will ask you, how is mom? Is she still in hospital? That's how people don't even think they come. So he has families to the great-grandchildren now.
How many billboards have you seen of him advertising?
None.
Exactly.
And he told me, in fact, once he has dealt with the parents, he expects the grandchildren. He told me because, the parents call him from the village. They tell him, my child is coming. I thought about that man and I said, this guy may not have gone for any customer care school, but just that attention.
You know, he understands that Moses Muiruri has come today. I've just taken 2 photos. I've made 100 shillings. But if I handle Moses very well, the generations, they'll bring the profits. And that's where the secret is of longevity in terms of, I would rather protect these few I have because they'll bring me the 1,000 that I can.
And let me surprise you now.
Yeah.
He doesn't have this big technology walking around. He doesn't have it.
I think we are the ones who push. And of course, different generations respond differently.
Yes.
Sometimes you can find an organization that will invest even in serious marketing campaigns, extremely exorbitant, very powerful billboards everywhere, and yet just a great experience with one customer can double your customer numbers. Where your customers refer just one person. Can you imagine if you have 2,000 customers and they refer one more person? And what can happen when the second customer refers another one? So when you think about the customer experience, really, the opportunity is immense. Human connections, when people feel understood beyond the facts, people make decisions based on irrational, and people make decisions based on an emotion. They just rationalize after the fact. I'll give an example. If you get married, you look at a beautiful jewel, you call them the queen of your home and all that facts. But really it is about how she makes you feel that is more important than anything else. Those midnight calls that you make when you're talking to the person you love, that's where the decision making is happening. It's a function of an emotion. But when you come back to us, when you ask you, how is your spouse, what will you say? Yeah, she's amazing. She has a good brain. She thinks she's a homemaker. Those are the facts justifying the irrational, emotional decision you made. It is how we make each other's feel, and more importantly, how we make our customers feel, that becomes the magic in customer experience. And people want to go in places where they feel wanted, they feel honored. How many times have you taken a photo of yourself and deleted it because you didn't feel like it was representing you? Because the emotions related to that photo, they were not connecting with you. But you put filters because you want people to connect with you and like it. Those emotional connections. Let me ask you, Moses, maybe a question would be, have you heard of people who have bought plots or houses because the billboard showed a house, and then when they went to check on the site, realized that the houses do not exist? Do you know what happened? They connected emotionally with that image. They saw themselves in that 3-bedroom house that was being advertised, and they connected and they made decision based on that emotion. And then they just went to qualify and quantify that after the fact. But they made the decision. So it is experience is about the emotional connection we have with our customers, and that allows them to come back and refer others to come and do business with us.
I want us to shift this conversation.
Yeah.
If the customer is that valuable, then the person handling the customer, what? In fact, let me use Old English. What ought he or her to be? What kind of a person is this? I think must be very tactful.
Yes. A person who handles this great customer ought to be professional enough first to understand him or herself. As I serve this customer, I need to understand who I am. One thing is about being emotional intelligence awareness. You are aware of that I am this person, this is how I reason, and I'm dealing with another human who is dependent, who reasons differently. So when I'm interacting with this person, how should I behave? How should I conduct myself? The other one is about attitude. Remember, customer experience is about an attitude and a culture of an organization. You mentioned earlier that you were served in a place and the attitude of the lady. So they lost a business because of an attitude. And guess what? The attitude was not written on the forehead. It is the behavior this person was portraying when they were dealing with you. So having the right attitude towards other people. Also, knowing how to manage time. Issues around efficiency. Knowing how to plan yourself. Managing relationships. Because if you cannot manage another person's issues, then how are you going to handle this person? And maybe Juma will add to that, but overall you need to be a professional enough. Communication aspects.
You're right.
Yeah.
Actually, clear communication is one of those aspects. But I need to say this. Usually, there's a quote that is said, there's a CEO who asked, if I train my people and they leave, what will happen to me? And the HR, whoever was in charge of training, asked, what if we don't train them and they stay?
A disaster.
So the balance is that we need to empower people. In fact, when we do the customer journey mapping, we start looking at who is this person talking to the customer and how can we empower them to make the most of the decisions. Because we find sometimes we have a very long escalation procedure, you know. This person doesn't know what to do, says, I will forward to so-and-so to do it, then so-and-so. Before you know, you don't even know where your issue is. How can we empower this person that is actually tackling or dealing with your customers directly to make most of the decisions that actually affect customers that do not need escalation per se? So they need to be empowered, real empowerment. A lot of times, you talked about hustlers, a lot of times those of people who run individual businesses have what we call the founders, is it called syndrome? Or is it where
Mentality.
We call
mentality.
We call it foundiosis.
Foundiosis. But here's the thing. Most times we hire people and assume that they will think like the business owners. So we want them to emotionally connect to everything, yet we don't empower them. And training starts to help. And sometimes you need, let me put it, sometimes these legacy organizations that have been there start putting together processes that make them look very good internally, but the customer is out there suffering. That's why I think you need Paul to come into the mix and say, by the way, can we look from outside looking in and based on what your customers expect? But more importantly, the people need to be empowered, proper, clear communication, have emotional intelligence, learn to be patient, realizing that when the customer is complaining, for example, it is currency that you can pick and say, this will add value. The customer has said, because people complain about three things. They will complain about the products, the processes, or the people. So what is it that we need to do with the people? And then the people, we need to empower them, have them communicate clearly, give what we call a holding response when you don't have an answer, manage the customer expectations, and more importantly, just realize that you're dealing with a human being and they can even deal with no for an answer. Because you can apply for a, now that we're talking about banks, you can apply for a loan, a facility that you don't get, but you can still be happy that they explained to you and empowered you and said, maybe if you do X, Y, and Z, this is then when you're able to qualify for this. And so people need to be empowered, trained, have the requisite skills to deal with our customers. But more importantly, delight your customers. Go above and beyond. The customers, if you serve them, they needed bread, you gave them bread, you served them the bare minimum, but you greeted them by the name and you wished them a good day. You actually went above and beyond. But you also call them and say, hey, I've not seen you in 2 days. You've not bought bread from me. Are you okay? that connection, that you're not just transacting and leaving them, you're following through, and customers feel, wow, so he called me, so he actually wants to build a relationship with me.
Wow, I'm thinking about time now. Eesh. So those are some of the key competencies we should be looking at in a customer care expert. Yeah? Then that means there's a growing demand of customer care experts and professionals. And I look at it in my mind. I think as I talk sometimes, I'm thinking about, from the days we began, there used to be a receptionist.
Yes.
Sindio? A receptionist. That one was what you found. If she tells you things are working, and they used to be ladies, I don't know why. If what she says is what goes, But then we began noticing along the way there were these, in fact, customer care. It looked like something
Huge.
Hey, okay, But now we are seeing that this is literally a profession that actually, it's like if you're going to invest, you have to ask yourself about that aspect of your business. Talk to us about the evolving nature of this profession, because we have less than 5 minutes.
No, I'll borrow a quote from someone who said that customer experience is the next battleground. Actually, I would say customer experience is the new battleground. It's the new marketing. So we have alluded to the fact that there is no business that will exist without the customer. And today, there are people who are looking for customer experience officers. In fact, we are calling them CEOs, customer experience officers.
Wow.
In organizations. And for an organization to thrive, everybody needs to be a CEO. So that's the starting point. But another thing I would say, Moses, is that as people are recruiting service providers or service people, they need to go beyond the papers, because we have seen that the soft skills are what determines a successful customer experience officer. Wow. You mentioned a business you left because of attitude. If you ask for the papers of that lady, maybe she has a first-class honors in mass communication and all that thing. Yeah. So as you recruit, you need to recruit the attitude and empower on the skills. And yes, today we are seeing a great demand of people recruiting customer experience officers from the low end to the high end. And recently, we've seen actually people who have been in mainstream customer experience becoming CEOs, chief executive officers of big organizations. I can name a few banks here that are being led by someone who started from customer experience space. So it's a very critical role. It's a very critical point. And one of the things we are doing at Customer Experience Academy Africa is to empower champions. We want to have organizations being led by champions who are recruiting other champions, so that at the end of the day, an organization is having CX champions across, where we don't have a mentality of that role is handled by that person, me, I handle this person. Each and every person in the organization becomes a champion in customer experience. So it may not appear in your job description, but you are a customer experience champion in your organization.
So literally soft skills are key in that aspect.
Yeah, that is true. Remember, customer service can tend to be a role someone plays from a tactical standpoint, but the experience is everyone. You know, there's a customer waiting on the bench. The accountant is going for lunch. If he doesn't ask, have you been assisted? If you don't wear the heart of building a good experience for the customer. So customer experience is end to end. What the customer experiences before they come to your organization, during the organization, and after they have interacted with you. That wholesome experience. And because of that, then everyone needs to be a customer experience champion. Paul has alluded to it. Initially, you'll find CEOs coming from the finance department, audit and stuff like that. Right now, and rightly so, you'll find that businesses will hire CEOs who think about the customer, who are obsessed about the customer and the experience the customers are having. I'll quote a CEO of Amazon, and he says, the customer is the most important thing in our organization. And because of that, he says, we are doing everything possible for the customer. In fact, they have something they call voice of the customer as a lead in terms of what are the customers saying and what can we do about it. And so you find that customer experience is here for the long haul. Paul has said it, we are in the age of the customer, and the experience is not going away anytime soon. And for you to go to that next level, beef up your customer experience.
I want to give you, is it an elevator pitch?
Yes.
CX Academy. Look at that camera and just talk about CX.
At CX Academy Africa, we are revolutionizing organizations by equipping the staff and organizations with the tool sets, skill set, and mindset that are going to transform organizations in order of getting the right performance. We are changing people's mindset, and we are tailor-making products for specific organizations to fix their issues.
Wow. Juma,
Yes.
we are finishing. Look at that camera. Give your closing remarks.
Yeah, we are in the age of the customer. Sometimes you may not know you need empowerment, and I think help is available. CX Academy Africa focuses on African customer experience. We cut across, we've done projects around the region, but we are open to support. Sometimes all you need is to get your people, have the right mindset, maybe a little help would allow you realize what you may be missing from an internal lens. So we look forward to supporting, and thank you to Elevation TV for having us, and we are grateful that we had an opportunity to even just talk about the customer in the Customer Service Week.
Wow. Well, time fails us, but we have to thank you for watching Elevate Television. I take this time to just look through into your very, whatever you're watching from, the TV, your gadget, or your phone, and say, we value you. You are not just a viewer to us. You are part of Elevate Television, and you are part of this great communication channel. And as we've been talking about the customer, remember this, you have a say in what happens here, and we tell you the numbers on your screen. Text, you can text, you can go on our pages and just give us a comment, give us what you feel we should do, what we should change. We are ready, we are listening, and we are hearing. And this has been a great time just to sit here with professionals, Paul and Juma. These are men who have been, these are like tractors which, build our roads. And really we appreciate. I want to thank you, Paul and Juma, for taking time. You are busy people and just giving us, according this time and respect, to be here with us. I take this opportunity on behalf of Elevate to thank you for taking your time.
Our pleasure.
That's all we could have today. We want to let you know that Elevate is here for you, so you get your say. See you next Wednesday. God bless you.